Welcome to True and Unpolished. Through this podcast, our intention is to uplift, amuse, and inspire you to create more of a life you'll love. Let's get authentic, everybody. Mary, I'm really excited about this one.
What are you excited about?
Well, first of all, I love quotes. So I loved the homework assignment that we had to find quotes.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time just looking at, I just love quotes so much. I love words.
Well, I feel like if this were a competition, then you'd probably win.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And so that's what I wanted to tell you. Originally, okay, let's let the listeners in on this. So Mary and I talked about what we wanted to do for today. And what we decided is we wanted each of us to find some quotes, and each of us would guess who said the quote. And I have to say that I diverged from that, Mary.
You did?
I got this inspiration as I was doing it and realized it's not about you guessing who did these. And maybe yours are about me guessing who did these. Guess what I did? You're going to love it. Just wait for it.
What did you do?
Ready? I got quotes about polished and unpolished and creating more. Yes, you did. Ooh, ooh. I wish y'all could see Mary's face. She likes the idea.
Am I going to be able to guess them?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one you might, but I don't think that's the point of my quotes. I think the point of my quotes is about, delving into our gig, what's ours.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if we have any of the same quotes.
That will be crazy. I thought the same thing. This is just exciting. And we didn't talk about how we kind of wanted to do it. So I think we do every other. Like you do one, I'll do one.
Why don't you start?
Okay, I'll start. All right. So the first one, I love this. This is a good one to start with, y'all. You look so polished from your hair to your toes, but still your fingers gonna pick your nose.
And I feel like that's from where the sidewalk ends.
Oh, that's close. No, it's not. I'm gonna give you a clue. The clue is he likes uptown girls who live in uptown worlds.
Well, I know the song, but I can't tell you that.
How about some call him the piano man, and they want him to sing.
Elton John?
Oh, is that who sings that? I thought it was Billy Joel.
Might be.
It's Billy Joel, I think. Okay, everybody, like every listener is like grown. It's Billy Joel.
That's what I was going to guess.
I'm just going to read it again because
I was just trying to throw everybody off.
Oh, you trickster. So I'm going to read it again because it's so deep and profound that it may take a minute for everybody to absorb it. So,
yeah, let's hear it again.
You look so polished from your hair to your toes, but still your fingers going to pick your nose.
Where is that from? Is that
no idea. I have no idea. I didn't go further than that because I just knew it would be fun to have a lighthearted one.
I can really relate to that.
About picking your nose?
Just being polished, thinking you're polished.
I mean, really, in all seriousness, it points to that thing that people say that, everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time. Everybody goes to the bathroom, so it doesn't matter how like dressed up and, lipstick.
Right. You still get boogers.
Correct. You still get boogers and have to figure out what to do with it.
Right.
Okay, Mary, your turn.
This one is probably one of my favorites of all time.
Awesome.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Art is the only way to run away without leaving home.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm going to guess that it is the gal who did The Artist's Way.
Nope.
Nope.
I feel like you'll never guess.
Okay, well, tell me.
But the author of that quote is a dancer and choreographer and author.
Oh, okay.
And it was on a stamp when I was in graduate school. I had 2 mentors who were art therapists, and I worked at an inpatient psychiatric facility. And we did all kinds of art and crafty kinds of things, but using like stamps was one of the things that we did. But that quote was on one of the stamps that we had. You want to know who it's by?
Yeah, who said it?
Twyla Tharp.
Oh, I love the name Twyla. Twyla Tharp. Well, she is wise. I find that what she's saying is very true. I have for months now. Every night I am creating. I'm working on a mandala every night. It's become such a cool experience because at first it was just like doing the mandala and making it pretty. And now it's not. It's like, oh, I'm going to use all the colors I don't want. Or, oh, if the place we used to live in California, if it was a mandala, like what would it look like? And so it's just color, using the color lines. Because I'm not drawing things, I'm drawing lines.
One of the things that all of my art therapy groups that I do, I start with a mandala as a mindfulness practice. You just gave me a couple of new ideas. I love use all the colors that you don't like.
Yes, isn't that great? You use all the colors you don't like.
That's a good non-judgmental practice for mindfulness.
Yeah. And I like it because then I see what I create with colors I don't like, and it's beautiful.
One of my favorite exercises was on radical acceptance. And so I'd have a group of people and they'd get a circle and then I'd walk around the table and make a mark.
Susan, when she was on, she told us about you doing that with the group that she was a part of or, watching, because you were the one who introduced me to this practice. And I remember like really clearly, we went to, it was at St. John's. Apparently we did something like weekly there at some point.
Canterbury?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Young adult program at the Episcopal Church.
Yeah. I was there for the drinking afterward.
Yeah, that was fun too.
And I remember realizing that I wasn't able to get there. Whatever it was that we were doing with this mandala and your prompt, it was beyond me. I couldn't get there. And as I've been doing these mandalas lately, I remember that. Oh, I'm there. I'm where I was.
So this brings me to another quote.
Oh, good.
Every child is an artist. The problem is staying an artist when you grow up.
Amen.
What little kid do you know that is not an artist? Like an amazing artist, right?
Yeah. It's because they don't have the same filter. It's like, oh, good. We have colored pencils. Let's do this. Not worrying about the outcome so much. And there's this freedom for them to express.
Right. Well, and also nobody's told them they weren't an artist.
Right.
Because that's the biggest factor.
And I have to say, by nobody told them, maybe there were people in my life that told me that, but I told me that. I remember my voice saying, you're not.
Right.
So yay, who said it?
Pablo.
Pobs, the Pobster, Pobinator.
You might need to work on your
name. Okay, here's mine. The gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trial.
That is a harsh truth, ain't it?
It is. It's trials. Sorry. So the gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials. I find it to be true. And you know what else this quote did? I mean, clearly you and I embrace the idea of unpolished.
We're so good at it.
So obviously we're fans, but this gave the perspective, the Davids and the clay. We are working on that polished perfection by these trials, by this friction that we rub up against. And ultimately what we discover is the polished stone that was beneath all that.
Right. And I think that's the true part. It's being true and authentic about the journey. It's not easy.
No.
Some parts are smooth and easy and magical. And I think when you've been practicing spiritual practices, mindfulness, those kinds of things, then sometimes things do get easier, but then life happens and you're feel like you're back at the starting point again, an unpolished gem.
That's what I'm finding with my husband. Like he and I are both in this space where we're, present with each other and in our lives, and recognizing kind of the genius in each other. He's recognizing mine, I'm recognizing his. And he said, like here we are, we're these two amazing people. Like let's do something with that amazingness. Like let's create. And I'm going, yeah, and the groceries need to be ordered and blah blah blah, all the stuff that has to get done, quote unquote,
Yeah.
in life. That's why he calls me Debbie Downer. There's a book, it's called The Secret Language of Relationships, and it says about our relationship that we make problem solving a way of life.
Is that good?
I think it was a positive for a while, and I think now we're ready to let go of that.
Okay, creative problem solving. I mean, you can reframe that, because what I'm hearing is we make problem solving, we make problems a way of life. So
Yes.
we have to solve them.
Right.
But you could reframe it. And in this, I mean, I think that is amazing and lovely that he wants to do that with you. I mean, what a wonderful partnership, right?
Mhm.
So, reframing it. And here's my next quote. This is for you, Lydia. This is for you. To create one's own world takes great courage.
To create one's own world. Why do you think, tell me why you say it's for me?
Well, because I think what your husband's asking you to do is to create. Let's be creative. Let's live creatively. Let's solve problems creatively. Let's make it a fun adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is scary. And that, I mean, I think when you focus on the things that you have to do, then you miss these other opportunities. Obviously, you've got to get the groceries. I mean, you can't not go to the grocery store, but maybe you can make an adventure out of it every once in a while.
Yeah. And I was thinking that I was going to tell him, let's have a date like once a week. This is like a sacred time in which we dream and get creative, imagine.
Well, there's a couple of ways you could do that. One, you could take turns.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Take turns. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. He picks the activity and then you pick the activity. So that's balanced. Mm-hmm. You can also include your kids sometimes.
I should clarify, because we create all the time. We do art projects all the time. Like Mary's looking behind me and there's mandalas back there in frames. Like those are my mandalas. He gets the frames because he wants them everywhere. And we do that part. What I mean is I want us to have a time to creatively and to
imagine, visualize what you want to create. And I think that is the term create is confusing, because automatically when we hear that term, we think like visual art for some reason. I'm not an artist. And so you don't have to be an artist to own your ability to create the life that you want for yourself. And you can do all sorts of creative things like cooking or gardening or painting, for sure, listening to music, dancing, singing in the shower. You don't have to be good at it either to enjoy it. But the way that you dress or the way that you comb your hair, all of that, the way that you decorate your home.
That all that is stuff I'm doing right now. And it's like, well, or maybe I've gotten it for a while, but I haven't taken the time to just pause and look and go, wow, because I did not have this. I was so stuck in the prison of my mind that there was no way that I could enjoy anything. Like I jokingly said before, well, I went to that, young adult event for the drinking that happened afterwards. That was true, but it was true because I wasn't I didn't get it. I didn't get the fun of creativity. I felt like it was beyond me. I felt like I couldn't do it. And I did want to have fun. And so
Right.
I thought, oh, well, if I can't create, I'll just, and can I do a quote? Because this one totally piggybacks off of what we've been talking about. If you don't take the time to create the life you want, you're going to eventually be forced to spend a lot of time dealing with a life you don't want.
Eek.
That's what I was describing though, with the problem solving as a way of life.
Right.
It's like we were in reactive mode because we had been creating unconsciously. Um,
Right.
and so now it's about embracing it and saying, okay, we've reacted, I think, put out all the fires in the baggage that we brought into our relationship, individually. And so now
Mhm.
it's time, we have the time and space to be proactive, spend time on doing that as opposed to putting out all the fires.
So that is fierce.
Is fierce.
It's also magic, but I think fierce is a good word. Stepping into a new way of being, really, is what you're talking about.
And do you remember that last year at this time, you helped me create a ritual for my 40th? And what I wanted was magic. And so you said you need to, draw something or whatever. And so I have a huge painting that I did that's over my bed that I look at all the time. And it says, I see magic everywhere. And I'm noticing as we're talking how much time I spend agonizing about things like my son's health and doctor's visits and all of this. And I haven't taken the time to really notice that there's so much good. And that I have another quote, but I won't go. I don't want to take your turn.
So, what I was thinking about is the law of attraction, and the feeling state is so much more important than the actual physical manifestation
Mm-hmm.
and creating the life that we want. And that is so difficult for me personally, but I think for us as humans,
Mm-hmm.
because we're five sensory beings. And
Mm-hmm.
so we need to hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, see it to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And creating is so much more than the final product. I mean, it's a process. And the first step is identifying what we want and identifying the feeling state is like the most effective way. And if you've gotten to the feeling state, so I dream of a retreat center on the river.
Mm-hmm.
And if I feel like I've already got it,
Mm-hmm.
then do I even actually need it?
Right,
To make
right. And the way that I say that is if you, the only reason why anybody wants anything is because they think they'll be happier when they have it. So
right.
you're cutting out the middleman. Like if I can be happy right here without the retreat center and my chickens and my garden and, like it's awesome what you got going on over there. And if I already feel good, if I already feel the way that I think I'm going to feel by having this retreat center, then the retreat center becomes obsolete. And ironically, of course, big cosmic joke, that's when you get it.
Right. It's hilarious.
So funny.
So funny. Yeah, that is, and it's interesting, I think, because we never stop desiring more
Mhm.
and we never stop creating. And so, even if you're not an artist, even if you think that is so off the wall for you to even consider,
Yeah.
maybe think about ways that you are creating in your life. And maybe you're
Yes.
creating in a sloppy way, maybe you're creating in a way that is chaotic,
Mhm.
and thinking about what you want and focusing more on that and just taking little tiny baby steps to
Yeah.
get there.
And my hope is that everybody has a Mary because when I don't see it, like I'll talk to you, and just like you have already in this conversation, you will point out to me the ways in which I am being so hard on myself, the ways in which I'm not noticing what's going on. And you are amazing and one of a kind. And that type of relationship exists out there. that does exist. And I
Right.
think we need it. I think we need it in order to get out of our own stuff.
Well, right. And I think the same is true for me. I mean, I am so fortunate to have you
Mm-hmm.
to help me do those same things. And I completely agree. It is a special relationship that we have attracted to each other to begin
Mm-hmm.
with. I think that
Mm-hmm.
was a soulful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we've cultivated over the years, and we've been
Yes.
intentional about making sure that it's a loving,
Yes.
considerate, kind relationship.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things are available to
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah.
And so in that regard, it's not special.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
it's just a relationship that has developed after a lot of years and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if we look at that quote, it says, if you don't take the time to create the life you want, you're going to eventually be forced to spend a lot of time dealing with a life you don't want. I believe that a key component to being able to stop the cycle, because it's driven into us from the very beginning, in order to stop that cycle of react to life, react to life, react to life, and getting out of it and creating, really creating what you want, I think you need other people. Like, they can't do it for you, but you can't do it alone. You need
Who
that
said
accountability.
that?
I don't know. I can't remember. It's a great quote. I wish I knew who said it. They can't do it for you, and you can't do it by yourself. Mary, it's your turn unless you want me to go.
I know you probably have this quote memorized,
Okay.
but
Hit me.
our deepest fear is not our inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world.
Mm, yeah, I love that one. Marianne Williamson. But I was pausing, obviously, as you said, I have it memorized and I love it. But when you said that, I took that as my clue that I needed to be new. I needed to be blank and listen to it, as if for the first time. And I've always contemplated that first part. It's not our darkness that scares us, but our light. What do you think about that?
I think that I do have light, and I mean, obviously we all do. And I think in my childhood and even throughout my life, oftentimes things would happen where I would get scared,
Mm-hmm.
literally because of somebody threatening me,
Mm-hmm.
either in an emotional way or a physical way.
Yeah.
And that's when I would dim my light.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't, for me, and I think this might be true for some people, but for me, I'm not afraid of my own light. I'm afraid that if I shine too brightly, then other people
Mm-hmm.
will harm me.
So that is the fear. So and you really, and I was going to say, you embody this quote. I think you in your life, like, I think the part where she says, "Who are you not to be? Who are you not to be amazing and wonderful?" And you unapologetically embody that, and I admire it so much because it's not done in a egotistical kind of way. It's not done in a narcissistic way. It's so pure, and to me, I look to it because it's obviously my light shadow, because I am drawn to it and admire it,
Right.
because I don't embody that. And I was contemplating it because for me, what happened is the same. I think that I was actively told that I was not, special. I think I was actively told that. And so, but I didn't believe it until I
Until
did.
you did.
And then once I did,
Yeah.
it was over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that is harsh.
Yeah.
It's a harsh slap in the face,
It
isn't it?
was. It was a big fall. It was a big fall. Big fall. Ooh, we have lost Mary, everybody. So I know that what that means is that it's on purpose and we're done here. So we're going to close with one more quote that I'm just going to share with all of you. And that is, life is too short not to create, not to love, and not to lend a helping hand to our brothers and sisters. That's a quote by Eric Maisel. Life is too short not to create, not to love. And then the, what should we call her? The head goddess herself. I'm going to really close with this one, I promise. It's, for sure, what you focus on expands. When you focus on the goodness in life, you create more of it. When you focus on the goodness in your life, you create more of it. You have been listening to True and Unpolished, the podcast. Let's see what happens next.